Hi friends! Welcome to the No Experience. I'm Shireen No, and today I want to talk about 5 habits I have picked up since living in Korea. And the reason we're talking about it is because there's a good chance you'll pick up on these habits too. So let's get right into the video. So number 1, the first thing that I want to talk about is the clothes. Clothes are a big habit that I've picked up since moving to Korea. And if you know anything about Korea, you know that fashion and beauty are huge here. Korea is one of the leading countries in both of those areas. And so when it comes to clothes, I moved here from Oregon, USA. I was pretty laid back. Yeah, sometimes I dressed up. In fact, I was a business professional for many years. And so I often dressed very professional. But in my downtime, I was the t-shirt, sweats at home, nothing fancy, and which is probably what most people wear, actually. However, when I moved to Korea, one of the things that I noticed is really popular is streetwear. Streetwear is everyday clothes that are really fashionable that people wear every day. One of the big changes that I have made is one of the fashion trends I saw girls wearing, women wearing, are oversized dresses. Now, at first, I really hated them because when I was younger, I lived in Hawaii and it reminded me of the muumuus that that people wear there. However, since coming to Korea, I have put on a few pounds. I'm blaming coronavirus, I'm blaming COVID-19, I'm blaming quarantine, I'm blaming the food, which we'll talk about in another video. But I decided that I will try some of these dresses, and let me tell you, they are geniuses. They're geniuses because okay, if you've watched one of my videos before, you know I live in Daegu, South Korea, and it is one of the hottest regions in Korea in the summertime. And now I kind of understand why it's become such a fashion trend, because the last thing I want next to my body is clothes when it is that hot and muggy out. In fact, my apartment right now is starting to warm up a little bit, even though it's gonna be October tomorrow. But I didn't want to turn the air conditioner or the fan on because I know my sound quality is still lacking a little bit, but don't worry, I have new microphones coming soon, so that will even get better. But let me tell you, I have stopped laughing about the dresses because I am all for it. I will buy as many of them as I can. They're oversized, they hide some of the lesser favorite parts of the body, and they're incredibly comfortable. So that is definitely the first thing that I have picked up since moving to Korea. So kind of continuing along with the fashion trend, the number 2 thing that I have picked up since coming to Korea is you never leave your home without your makeup on and your clothes on point. I don't like this habit that I've picked up. And the reason why is because I hate putting makeup on. I really do. And in fact, I've thought about in a future video trying to follow a makeup tutorial because I have been doing my makeup exactly the same way for the past probably 10 years. So I'm not very fashion forward. But in Korea, you will never find someone wearing Walmart pajamas to go get the mail. You'll never see them wearing their PJs and their hair all funky and half asleep to go to the market and quickly pick up some vegetables. That will never happen here. It is a huge fashion faux pas. It's just a kind of a faux pas in general. No, it's not that it's not like it's illegal to do, but you will get some looks. And I already get a lot of looks everywhere I go, which actually that would also make a good topic for discussion in another video because I'm American. Not bad looks, just looks. So the last thing I want to do is draw additional attention to myself. So when I leave the house, I quickly throw on one of my big comfortable dresses, and so I'm still a little on the lazy side, but you still, putting your makeup on is just something you do. So if you're moving here, you're gonna notice it. You know, feel free to do whatever you like, but you'll start to feel a little out of place, and so I just started doing it. Okay, so number 3. This is one I know that you're aware of, but I still wanted to talk about. Number 3 is taking your shoes off. And the reason I want to talk about it is because this is habits that I've had to adapt, or I've just have over time adapted since coming to Korea. And this was not an easy habit to develop, because in America, taking our shoes off is not necessarily part of our culture. Now, that's not saying that people's homes, that people don't take their shoes off in their house, because they do. But we always wore our shoes in the house. My friends' families always wore shoes in their house. So typically when we go to a friend or family member in America home, we ask them, oh, do you want me to take my shoes off? And honestly, in my experience, 9 times out of 10, people tell me, no, it's okay, you can leave your shoes on. So coming to Korea and having to get used to always taking your shoes off was hard. Not because I'm against it, it's not the first thing I would think about. And in fact, when I would wear tennis shoes, it was a huge pain because I'd have to sit down and tie my shoes so we can go, and and my husband's already ready out the door. And what I've noticed is get around that whole thing is people just started to loosely tie their shoes, kind of loosen the shoestrings so that they can quickly slip their shoes on and off. And I never did that, especially being an ex-marathoner. I always tied my shoes, snugly, and so actually it took me a little while to start getting used to the idea of, okay, I just need to make these looser so I can quickly slip my shoes on and off, because if you're going to people's houses, you have to quickly take them off. There's no places really to sit by the front door to take your shoes on and off, because everyone slips them on and slips them off. Which, the other thing that drives me crazy is everyone leaves their shoes right smack in the walkway. Oh, it drives me crazy. I'm like, just move the shoes over, because I'm tripping over shoes to get in everybody's houses. Oh my God. But even in my own house, I get frustrated when my husband it's their habit, I guess, just leaving them wherever, and I'm just, move over. But, whatever, it's their culture, not mine. So I'm getting used to it. But it's not just houses you're going to take your shoes off at, which is why having them loose or wearing sandals or whatever is easier. There are restaurants, especially traditional Korean restaurants, where you have to take your shoes off because you sit on the floor, and then there's a low table and you all eat together. There's even some other, like the saunas where you take your shoes off, and they usually provide additional slippers. I have never been to the sauna here because that's a whole other topic. I don't like being naked in front of other people, and I don't like being hot. So that's not, I haven't done that. Anyway, so when you come to Korea, expect your shoes to come off. If you accidentally walk into a room with shoes, they're gonna understand that you're foreign and kind of let it go, but they are going to look at you like that is the most disgusting thing you have ever done. They're always just like, that is so gross, why would you? I'm like, we clean the floors, come on, it's not a big deal. But yeah, just prepare that one. Okay, number 4 I know is something that you have not heard of before. If you're coming to Korea to visit a group of friends, if you're coming to Korea for business, or if you are moving here, this is something you should be aware of, whether you are a man or a woman, because this is definitely something I had no idea about, and it drove me crazy when I first came here. But number 4 is, it is very important to choose where you are sitting. What I mean is, if you are a woman, you are not going to sit next to a man. If you are a man, you are not going to sit next to a woman. Now, there are some exceptions to that rule, but when I first came here, I didn't understand the culture, and it used to make me really mad, because as an American, I thought it was really sexist at first. But of course, that was my own ignorance in the situation. Now I understand. It's not about being sexist. It's about being respectful. So in America, we are very comfortable with the opposite sex, especially whether we're friends, whether it's someone new. It doesn't bother us to be that sitting close to another person, to touch someone of the opposite sex, to shake hands, to do any of that stuff. But here, it's a totally different thing. Women are not comfortable with it. And so out of respect, men just don't sit next to women. So for example, when we went to the hospital the other day, because like I said, I have an autoimmune, I see a rheumatologist here. When you first get into the hospital, you actually get a number before you can go to the admissions and let them know that you're here. And so you sit kind of on just these bench seats. And I've watched it many times to see if this is really across the board, and it is. If a woman sits down on that bench, a man will not sit next to her unless there's at least one seat between. Even if it's the only seat, even if he's hurting, he's not going to sit next to her. Often what my husband does is he has me sit on the inside seat and he'll sit on the outside. That way I think he's trying to shelter me and protect me from feeling uncomfortable, even though he knows I'm comfortable. But now I think it's also the men's side. They're not comfortable with it because it's, such a huge part of their culture. And like I said, there are some exceptions to that rule. I've lived here almost a year now. My husband's friends are my friends. And even last night when we went out to dinner, masked, of course, outside, no one was around us. And when one of our late friends showed up, he grabbed a chair next to me, and our other friend, he actually said, no, sit next to me. I was like, you guys know, I don't care. But again, it wasn't about anything rude or improper. They were just trying to be respectful to me. So don't be surprised if you see that. Don't take offense to it. Remember, this is their culture, not yours. So, but you're also not going to insult anybody if you accidentally sit next to them. Really, don't worry too much. Just expect it. Okay, the last trait that I have picked up, or habit I've picked up since coming to Korea, is saying goodbye. Seems like a simple thing, but there are many different ways that you say goodbye here. And what I'm talking about is not to my friends, I'm talking about to service workers. Every time you go to the market and you buy your groceries, when you leave, you don't just say 안녕히 계세요. You can also say 수고하세요, which means something to the effect of keep doing a good job. And think about how often you go to the market and you pay for your stuff. We just go, right? Sometimes I'll say have a good day to them because, like I said, I was a business professional. I never worked in particular strong customer service, but that's just politeness. Sometimes I'll do that, but for the most part we take our groceries and we leave. But here you don't do that. You always say something to them as you're leaving. And so that was a strange habit too, because I'm used to, just give me my card back and bolt, right? But here, it's polite to say something like that to the workers. So everywhere, and that also includes when you're saying goodbye to friends. Sometimes you can say the same thing, but it's a habit that I've gotten into now. And so sometimes when I think about going back to America, there's a good chance that when I'm leaving, I'm going to feel obligated. And that's the thing, you feel obligated to say something like that, to wish them, to tell them to keep doing a great job, to tell them goodbye. You go out of your way to say it. And it's not uncomfortable, but the first few times I did it, I did feel weird because I'm like, they don't know me. Like, why am I going out of my way to say goodbye to them or to tell them, to keep doing a great job? But I mean, Korea is really big on being polite to each other and showing respect to each other. So that's one that I don't mind adopting. Not that I minded adopting any of these, but I think that's really nice. And I think that if we did that more, maybe in the US also, it wouldn't hurt, right? Couldn't be a bad thing. Anyway, I hope that you really liked this video today. Please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment below, and let me know what topics you would like me to discuss in the future. And if you would like to support the channel, I do have a Patreon and it is listed below. That would be great. Otherwise, until the next time, stay classy, YouTube. Bye!